Stop. Never that.
There was no danger.
I heard about it.
Yeah, it's recording.
All right, listen very carefully, ladies and gentlemen. This, if you figure out this concept, I can tell you in my world, in my life, I use this all the time. If you comprehend this or get this whole thing, your life in any sciences and any math and any, well, mostly sciences and math or whatever, will be so much easier. And it's not that hard. It is what we call, what the book calls unit multipliers. And if you ever have trouble converting from one unit of measurement to another unit of measurement, for example, if you have trouble figuring out how many cups are in a gallon, or if you have trouble figuring out how many yards are in 35 feet, or if you have trouble figuring out how many hours are in a year, or whatever, this takes all of the guesswork out of it. It is literally the most useful thing I think you could learn in math. It really is. It is, unit multipliers are simply, well, first of all, before you do that, before we talk about anything, you need to write this word in as large of letters as, well, reasonably big, because this is what it's all about. It is all about labels. So for those of you who are lazy, which amounts to probably 75% of you, there are a couple of you that probably are. Okay, you don't like to write down labels of things, you are going to, well, you're gonna have to change your mind, because you have to do that. It is about labels. However you can decorate that to stress the importance of it, I would appreciate it. I'll do it. Okay. That is the single most, and the only thing about this unit multipliers is it is simple, it's just simply one way, or simply a way, to convert from one unit of measurement to another. For example, if you wanted to know 25 miles was how many kilometers, you would use unit multipliers. It get a little complicated, but you could do it. Riker could tell you that a 5K is
3.2.
Is it 3.2?
Yeah.
Is it
3.2, 3.5.
From one unit of measurement to another. Okay, now, and defining a unit multiplier, is any fraction you can make that equals 1, or has the same measurement on top and bottom. Don't worry if you don't quite get that, you will in just a second. I will give that. You can't read something?
Yeah.
Any glasses? My writing and spelling are
It's still
impeccable.
1.8 times.
A unit multiplier
No,
is
the
any
red one.
fraction you can make that
Measurement.
equals 1,
Wait,
or
wait,
have the
measurement,
same
okay.
measurement,
Me-
MSMT. I'm not gonna spell it all measurement.
That's too hard.
But, for example, this is where labels are important. I'm just gonna, 1 hour over 60 minutes. These are the same exact measurement, they're just using different labels, or just different, they mean the same thing. This fraction equals 1 because it's the same thing, 8 hour is 60 minutes. 12 is the same as 1 dozen. 10 Same thing over the same thing. Or you could flip it over and say 1 dozen is the same as 12. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. 365 days could be 1 year. Or 1 year could be 365 days. You could say 12 inches equals 1 foot, or you could flip it over and say 1 foot equals 12 inches. What else? Kabar, give me another one, just out of the blue. Uh-oh. Any two measurements that are the same. Reagan?
1 yard is 2 feet.
Yeah, you could put 1 yard is 3 feet, or 3 feet is 1 yard. All of these are unit multipliers. Liam?
5,280 feet is 1 mile.
5,280 feet are 1 mile. Now granted, you need to know that sometimes. Okay, if you don't know how many feet are in a mile, you may have to look that part of the thing up. But once you get those two things down, life is just that much easier. What else? We did time. We could do distance. Oh, you could say 4 quarts is 1 gallon. You could say 2 cups is 1 pint. All of those, they're fractions that mean 1. They're equal. Okay. So here is the way this goes down. And remember, the key word is what? Thank you. Are you the only one listening? The key word is labels. So here's an example. Watch. Let's say I ask you. I'm going to pull it out of the book because I want to come up with a good one. Let's say I'm asking you that what? Well, let's say 270 minutes equals how many hours? Okay. Now I know, just bear with me here, because I know you're going to say I know how to do that. I would just do what? Divide by 60, right? But not always is that really clear. Not always. So here's how it works. Let me give this to you step by step. By step. Step number one. Make a fraction out of the given measurement. Can I abbreviate measurement like this, David, or are you going to get all crazy? All right. That simply means this. You are given 270 minutes. You go 270 minutes, and you do that because labels are important. You make a fraction out of it, you just can put it over 1, because that's what it is. That's just okay. Step number 2, the beauty of math coming through right here. You are going to multiply that, which means I'm going to do this, times by the unit multiplier that makes the label cross cancel. I have something down here. How did I run out of room already? I don't think there's 2 L's in cancel, so I'll take that out. Which means this, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that little rule in math that if you have the same thing on top, same thing on bottom, you cross them off? Okay. I don't want my answer to be in minutes anymore. Okay. So in my unit multiplier, by the way, what unit multiplier has minute and hours in it? There's 60 minutes in an hour. That's the unit multiplier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Or the reverse of that, which is 1 hour is 60 minutes. You are going to use one of those, and you have to pick which one. And what you pick is because I don't want minutes around anymore, and I know that if I have something on top of a fraction and on the bottom of a fraction, they cross cancel, I wanna have this minutes down here, because when I multiply these together, that'll cross off with that. I am left with the hours on top. And I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So here's my unit multiplier. Really, I'm multiplying it by 1, which doesn't change the value of it, but it is going to change the label of it and change the numbers. So you end up crossing off minutes. My only label left is hours. I multiply across, I get 270 over 60 hours. And then you'd have to simplify it from there, which would mean you would divide it out. You could cross off the zeros. How many times is 6 going to 27?
4,
No. Well, it does, but you got some leftover stuff.
3 left over.
What's that?
3 left over.
Yeah, it's 4.5.
Oh,
It'd
30
be 4.5 hours, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Now, lest you say, I don't really find this too exciting, the nice thing is, it can work with things that you know nothing about or care nothing about.
Will those be around?
Let me show you this. This is, we do this together, by the way. I don't think, I'm gonna take a couple of them. Let's say you get stranded on a tropical island, and the natives, the only currency that they use are fruit pieces. And some of the fruit, because it's more rare, is worth more than other things. So for example, I have right here, you know that 1 apple, because it is so much better than a banana, somebody will pay you 5 bananas for an apple.
No.
That's a lot. And they will give you 4 bananas for 3 oranges. All you can trade, oh, look, if there's grapes. Are grapes valuable or not?
Depends if
No,
they're green.
because 1 grape equals, or 18 grapes equals a pear. Okay, so here, take a look and see. Let's see if you can make heads or tails out of this. It doesn't matter if you understand this or not, because, so here, let's do this working with unit multipliers. Where are we at? Somebody help me. We're up here. If I wanted to know 24 bananas equals how many oranges? These are all of my unit multipliers because they are all equal things. And if you put them over top of each other, they equal 1. Following the rules of unit multipliers. Step number 1, take what you're given and put it over 1. So I would take 24 bananas, put it over 1. Make a fraction out of it. Follow along here. I then need to find my unit multiplier that has bananas and oranges in it, which happens to be this one right here, right?
Yes, Mr. Hahn, that's the one.
Yes, Mr. Hahn, that's the one.
So the question is this, do I put the oranges over the bananas or do I put the bananas over the oranges, and why? Again, key is labels. I want labels to cross off. So if bananas is on top here, it must be on the bottom here, because you can cross cancel those. What am I putting on top? Oranges. Then I fill in the blanks with the numbers. 3 oranges equals 4 bananas. And then please don't neglect crossing off these labels, because bananas are gone, I have oranges left. Doing a little mathematics, the 4 can cross cancel with the 24 to give you a 6, and 6 times 3 is 24 bananas actually equals 18 oranges. Congratulations. You could trade your 24 bananas and get yourself 18 oranges. That's really a good deal, I think.
I like oranges.
I want to know that. Same thing for problem number 2. I am going from 24 pears to oranges. Well, I know I get 5 oranges, give me 6 pears. Bart, can you do that in your head? How many oranges would I get if I had 24 pears, just by looking at that?
Which one?
Huh?
20?
I don't care, I'm gonna do it in the multipliers. Let's see. So you take 24 pears, put it over 1. In my unit multipliers, where's this pears gonna go? On the bottom, because it needs to cross off. What am I putting on top? Oranges. And then I look at my unit multiplier, and I know that 5 goes with the oranges and 6 goes with the pears. And then I can do my multiplying and cross canceling. Pears crosses off, whichever this is a O, not a 0. You could do 24 times 5 and get 120 over 6 and divide it out, or you could cross cancel the 6 with the 24 and get 4. You end up with 20 oranges. Now, since Kavarik, being the mental genius that he is, Kavarik, let's go down here to, quickly, Kavarik, 2 apples would equal how many grapes, based on all those conversion things? Number 8. 2 apples equals how many grapes? I'm waiting for that calculation to happen. I see the eyes moving from one to another. I see things, I smell something burning. Smoke's coming out of his ears. All right, now, Kavarik, before we go there, let me give you this here, okay? Brian probably could figure it out and give it a little while. Now, you'll notice, is there an apples to grape conversion?
No.
No. If there's not one that goes there, you have to take it from one step to another step to another step to another. You have to find the way. How do I get from apples to grapes? Well, if I look up here, I can go from apples to bananas, and then I can go from bananas to oranges. I can go from oranges to pears, and then I could go from pears to grapes. I could do this in 4 steps. Okay, let me, I probably shouldn't have gone with the hardest one right off the bat, but let's do it. Here, I'll show you. Watch the beauty of this. Okay, so I start with I'm given 2 apples over 1. Now I can go from apples to what did I say? Okay, and what was the apples to banana ratio? How many apples?
1 to 5.
1 apple, 5 bananas?
Yeah.
So 1 apple, 5 bananas. Okay, that now changed my answer into bananas. Then I can go from bananas to what's the next thing? Who?
Oranges.
Oranges. What's the comparison of bananas to oranges?
4 to 3.
Wait,
4 bananas to 3.
4 bananas was 3 oranges. So now my bananas have crossed off. With the numbers I have now, I've just changed it into oranges. Now I need to go from oranges to, what's the next, pears? What's the conversion from oranges to pears?
5 oranges to 6 pears.
5 oranges is 6 pears. I've now made my answer in pears. And then the last one, I believe, is pears to grapes. What is the conversion of pears to grapes?
1 pear, 18 grapes.
1 pear equals 18 grapes. Now I just have to deal with the numbers. I changed it into grapes. Can I cross something out? Sure. But I have a 5 on the bottom and a 5 on top. I'm going to cross those out. I have a 4 on the bottom and a 2. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice. Then I have a 2 and a 6, which means a 2 goes into 2 once and a 6 3 times. If you multiply 3 times 3 times 18, that's how many grapes you get. What's 18 times 9? Kavarik, did you have that? 162 grapes. You gonna say that? Who's gonna say that?
Ryan.
I know.
What?
I know.
Okay, you can take it however it works. Now, another case in point in that, here, let me just give you this. Let's say you wanted to know 1 year equals how many seconds? It's going to be some astronomically large number, but how would you do that to figure this out? Well, we don't know how many seconds are in a year, so I don't have a conversion for that, but I would do this. I would put my 1 year over 1. I do know how many days are in a year, right? So where would that go? Years have to go on bottom because my labels need to cross off.
Leap year.
I would put days, let's just go regular. 365 days. Now I've changed it into days. I now would put what on bottom? Days, and I know how many hours are in a day, which is 24. I now have hours, which I would change into probably minutes. 1 hour is how many minutes? 60, and then I now am in minutes, and I would change minutes into seconds, and there's 60 seconds a minute. So to figure all that out, it's 365 times 24 times 60 times 60. Maybe that makes sense to you, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But it takes all, I mean, if you've ever gotten confused whether you multiply or divide, 75 yards is how many feet? Everybody knows there's 3 feet in the yard, but they never know, do I multiply by 3 or divide by 3? I'm guessing I like that. That's me too. I mean, some of you can logically figure it out. Let's go back to this sheet. Tell you what, you figure out problem number, do number 5. 4 apples is how many oranges? Using unimultipliers, using labels, 4 apples is how many oranges? 4 apples is how many oranges? So you're gonna have to go from apples to bananas, and probably bananas. It's probably gonna take 2. There's probably not one step that's gonna get you there. And as they say, I like apples and bananas. For those of you paying attention at home, hope you get better. How many are gone today? 5? You done? That's really All right, so this would look like this. Start with what you have. Always take your given and put it over 1. I now need to go from apples to oranges. I'm going to have to go from apples to bananas. So apples has to go on bottom, bananas go on top. How many? 1 apple is 5 bananas. So apples, the label apples crosses off. I know, though, I could say my answer is 20 right now for that. Now I need to go from bananas to oranges. What's that? And 4 bananas would be 3 oranges. Feel free, if you don't get the cross-canceling thing with the numbers, you could just multiply those 3 numbers and divide by that. But since there's a 4 and a 4 there, I can cross those off. And 5 times 3 is 15 oranges. 15. You do 6 and 7 and, or did 8. Do 6 and 7. Let's just see if you can pick out the, and then you will be well on your way to going to the deserted aisle. 6 and takes all the guesswork out of anything. If you do labels, don't be lazy. Do not do labels.